Hello everybody and welcome to this week's Old School Q&A. I'm your host Mod Ayiza and I'm joined by the wonderful Mod Bruno.
Hello.
There we go, glad you said hello. Hi Bruno. Mod Tide.
Hello there.
And Mod Flippy.
Yo.
Yo. Okay, I guess first things first is how is everyone? Bruno, kick us off. What have you been up to this week? What are you currently working on and how are you doing?
As I'm good, yeah. Been working on combat achievements, getting that finished up. The task system's looking good and it's pretty much done. So looking forward to that to go out whenever the equipment balances are wrapped up. Yeah, it's pretty much me. That's pretty much it from me.
Nice. Okay, thank you. All right, Mod Tide. What have you been up to this week? What are you currently working on and how are you?
Oh, I'm doing pretty good. Been working mainly on that bolt pouch. Very nice. I enjoy it now. It's nice to use. And been working on some other stuff. Can't say. But
Secrets, big secrets.
yeah.
Are they the same type of secrets that could get us fired if we were to reveal them, like my tweet nearly the other day?
I don't know.
Probably then in that case. All right, and last but certainly not least, it is Mod Flippy. What have you been up to? What are you working on, and how are you?
I'm good, thank you. I've mostly just been working on collection log. I sent out some teasers on Twitter, and now I'm working on the last and biggest new feature. Don't want to overhype it because it's really not anything super special, but it is nice. So that's what I've been spending my last week or so on. Yeah, looking forward to the release.
For what it's worth, you might not think it's hype, but I do, okay? That functionality is very welcomed, all right? Sometimes it's the simplest of things that have the biggest of impact, you know? So
yeah, pretty much. You know, I sent out that small little picture of the notification when you get like a new collection log unlock. And so that wasn't even like a part of the original plan. We had a bunch of features lined up that we did a bunch of work on. And then Husky just asked me if I could throw that in there as the last thing, and I was like, oh yeah, that's super nice. So I did that, and everyone seemed to only like that one, so I was like, all right. It works.
my work here is done. All right, it sounds good. Hopefully we'll be able to share more of the things that we're working on relatively soon. But in the meantime, we've got some announcements that we need to quickly get through, and the wonderful Mod Sani has put together a nice little script for me, so as is the tradition, I will read it word for word. ! Steam. Old School is now on Steam. Unlock achievements, badges, trading cards, and more when you play using the brand new Steam client. Type ! Steam to visit our store page today. How many times can I say Steam in one sentence? Oh, well, there's more! Steam help. Also, we know there have been some issues with linking and unlinking accounts with Steam, so we want to give you some help with the ! Steam help command. So pop that in the chat if you need some help. All right, next one, ! Game update. Get your telescopes at the ready. We're bringing back a fan favorite by old schoolifying shooting stars. There are some more Pole 74 changes, and we want your feedback on our concept proposals for the clan halls. So use ! Game update for more info. In addition to that, there is also a section, which I will add, this isn't in the script, so I'm now freestyling, but there's a section just underneath where we show off the clan hall concepts, which will be thrown into a polling game tomorrow, I believe. Losing my voice as well as my hair, apparently. And we want to talk to you about the clan hub location. When we first went through the kind of like clan system preview, sneak peek, live stream, blog, there was some concerns over it being in the Grand Exchange, and players felt that it should be somewhere else, maybe not in the Grand Exchange, maybe it should be Falador, or just somewhere entirely different. We've had like 2 comments since the blog went out asking for your opinions on like where it should be. Maybe you don't care and you actually don't mind it being at the Grand Exchange, but if you really do, then please make sure you comment somewhere on our social platforms. Use the links in the bottom of the post on the Old School website, or find out the tweet, write it onto there, and all good. Our last announcement, ! Competition. Just because our 6 JAD challenge is over doesn't mean you've missed your chance to get a KBD building set. So get your brushes, pencils, or mouse at the ready and design a hat for a chance to get it featured in the game. Find out more by using ! Competition to get all the details. Ooh, how exciting. We've seen some pretty interesting submissions. Someone did their designer hat challenge by painting it on their wall in their room and left the caption, "Please do not tell my landlord." Well, unfortunately, it's on Reddit now, so everyone will know about it. All right. As always, if you have anything you'd like to ask the team or myself, then please at OldSchoolRS with your questions. We have some player content to show off. So if you want to look at these in your own time, !UGC. Okay, that can bring up those images for you. This is from an unfortunate player that is currently locked out of their RuneScape account, but rather than being sad about it, they decided to bring RuneScape to Valheim. And this is their rendition of Lumbridge Castle, and they say that there will be more to come, including shops and inside of the castle. And this is from Rugged Redhead on Reddit. Pretty cool. I don't know if anyone else has played Valheim, but that must
a little bit too much.
The effort you must have put in to make that, though. Farm all those resources.
Yeah, that is pretty impressive.
Yeah, it actually looks like pretty accurate as well. Nice. All right, so the next piece of content coming up is titled "Every 10th Task Be Like ... and this is from Shaku. Well, you know, head over to Konar, get some more points. Why not? Maybe get a chance.
We've all been there. You go to Konar, you grab your task. It's a crap task, you cancel. It's another crap task, you cancel, and then you basically you're back to your original point.
You're in negative equity. Stonks go down, unfortunately. Yeah. But you get to embrace Konar at the same time, so maybe it's worth it in the end. So.
True.
All right, next one coming in is titled "In Honor to All Dead Hardcore Ironmen." Oof, rest in peace. This is from Protector Zero. Nice little piece here, like an ancient helm.
It looks really nice. I wonder what we made it all out of.
Yeah, I always wonder as well, like, is it like foam that's painted, maybe plastic 3D printed? There's just too many different ways people can do things nowadays. It is really cool. I like that aged effect on it especially. A good touch. All right, and the last one that we want to show off for now is titled "How I Imagine Baby Wormlings," and this is from Sharkiki. It is very, very super cute. Just the one little tooth dangling down. As Flippy would say.
Isn't it his tongue, not his tooth?
Yeah, on the left it looks like
you know what, actually, it does look like a tongue, yeah. Never mind.
Yeah.
It could be both.
That's a huge.
It's definitely not.
A huge tooth.
Well, it's a worm, all right. I'm sure they've got big teeth. Maybe. Okay. Very beautiful image. Thank you. Thank you for that as well, Tide. I'm glad to have been called out. All right, let's go into some questions. So if you missed the previous Q&As, we said this week we'll be going over some old questions. So there was no threads to submit anything in today. We've got a lot that we wanted to catch up on. So we'll hopefully be able to quick fire through some of these and maybe get through to some chat questions as well. First question comes in from Titor Steins Gate. Good anime, to be fair. Can we get a challenge mode Tempoross after its release? It hasn't even released yet.
I believe Mod Squid was really keen to do one eventually.
Yeah, so I think I've seen some. Go on, Tide, sorry.
I was going to say, but it would all depend on the time, really, wouldn't it? Whether you can get it slide in.
Well, at least it depends on the time and not the tide. Whee. I'll see myself out. I do recall when I was writing the blog for Tempoross, though, that he had actually put together some very kind of like rudimentary designs for what could be a challenge mode. So, yeah, maybe in the future we could see something like that. Any other comments?
That would be awesome.
Yeah, would be nice. Jump in the gun a bit since it isn't even out yet, but yeah, if there's a demand for it, then understandable, we can look into it.
Cool. All right. So next question comes in from Johnza UK, and they ask, if there is still the normal clan system, what would the old clan system be called? Why not have clans and guilds?
So it'll be the same as the way RuneScape 3 do it, which is you'll have your clan chat for your actual clan, and then you'll just have your friends chat for what we currently call a clan. The friends chat isn't going anywhere. You're still going to have things like Chambers of Xeric with its functionality being run through there rather than your clan, as far as I know. So yeah, they'll still be there.
Cool, thank you. All right, AVFC, they ask, will there be an option to customize your own clan cape, such as color and logo, for instance?
It is currently in the works, and I believe so.
Cool. I think it was only yesterday actually that there was some concepts being ready to be prepared for what the clan cape could look like, and I do remember discussions internally with the team saying that there's going to be some level of customization. So yeah, fingers crossed. Looking forward to that. All right, next question coming in from Thurko. And Thurko is asking, what are the team's thoughts on a few additional gauntlet changes? For example, number 1, combo food that is dropped uncommonly from the Demi/Tier 2 NPCs, and that would be in place of the existing paddlefish. And number 2, super combat potions that are expensive to make with shards and other supplies. Both of them would be aimed at making gauntlet runs less frustrating, but no faster in terms of the speed runs.
I'd like this. I think it would be nice to have some more updates to the Gauntlet. I know a certain mod has recently been doing a couple touch-ups on the Gauntlet, which I don't want to get into since it's his project, but looking forward to that going out. But yeah, I'd be down for things like combo food. I wouldn't expect people to have to rely on it for things like world records, for example. But yeah, like as an extra thing if you want it to try and secure the kill for you. That would be nice, I guess.
Because it could potentially help with those times where you do get a little bit of like bad pathing, or you mess up on your clicks, for example, and you do want to get a lot of quick eating rather than having to run around in a square for 10 seconds whilst you chomp paddlefish one at a time. And I assume that with the super combat potion, the trade-off for the extra stats would be the time spent that you'd have to use to actually make them.
Yeah, I'd expect it to cost quite a lot of
damage.
Something like, whether it be like the dust or like more herbs or something. I wouldn't expect it to be as easy as an enginol. Is it enginol potion? It might be called that. It might be pronounced differently, but yeah.
Engine oil potion.
Enginol.
Yeah, it's one of those. I know what you're saying, but cool. All right. Anything else, Flippy Tide? Shall I move on?
No, I think that sounds good.
I don't know what other people would think, but it'd be cool if there was like some form of spec weapon which you could use to force to change the pres that it was currently using at a cost or something.
Interesting. Okay. Do you know, this isn't a question, right? But I did a little bit of Gauntlet recently, and I wonder what the rest of the team that's in here, what your thoughts, and maybe the chat. So when I go into the Gauntlet, I always prefer, if I have the time, to wait for Hunluff to be stood in one of the corners. Because when it's in one of the corners, it means that I have much better time in terms of pathing, especially in like the second half of the phase, where the floor can be literally lava and you don't have much room to move around in. But it was very frustrating in terms of like the inconsistencies as to when Hunluff would actually move to the corners, where it would appear. Sometimes you'd get there and it would already be in the corner, you just go straight in. Other times it would be in the center and you could wait 20-30 seconds for it to path into the corner. How do you feel about that? Like, for me, I just see it as like, okay, whatever, it's a frustration, a bit of annoyance. Maybe it would make it a bit too easy if it was always consistently in the corner. But yeah, what do you think?
Probably it'd be quite nice. It'd make kills a bit more consistent as well.
Yeah. I do find it annoying when like you walk in and you have to either get stomped by the Hunluff because you stood on top of it, or you just have to run away and hope it doesn't wreck you.
Yeah, I guess like maybe the counter argument, because there are some people saying like RNG is a part of it in chat, other people saying get good, some people saying that it's a really good change, is like the better you are of your prep, maybe the more time that you have to stand at the door and wait for the Hunluff to actually get into a good path. So it kind of like rewards you for being better before the boss room. However, it's frustrating, like you said, Bruno, when you go through the door and instantly get stomped because you don't really have any other option if you've got no time. But maybe that's the problem in terms of like you should have enough time. Cool. Anyway, I just kind of like basically took over the Q&A, so I'll move on. Artisan BG has asked, currently 1/3 of training for a better salamander must be done with a non-salamander weapon. Would the team be opposed to changing the attack requirement to an equivalent strength requirement?
Is this a person who only wants to train with salamanders?
Salamander only.
Oh no. I don't have too strong of an opinion on this, to be honest. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not too knowledgeable on salamanders either, but since they can be used as like both, well, since they can be used as a weapon for every attack style, which is magic, range, and melee, would that have any impact? That's all I'd think if I were to change like certain requirements around.
Would it introduce like a new way of training strength or something for one attack pures or one attack builds? I don't even know what melee experience it gives you, to be honest with you, whether it's controlled or not.
I'm struggling to like understand the problem behind this question. So I'm like,
Yeah,
would it be possible? Absolutely. Why? I'm not sure.
The question is saying switching it from an attack to strength requirement, right?
Yeah.
Is that what
Yeah,
you're
it's
saying?
entirely,
Yeah.
entirely possible. Does it mean that it should be done? Questionable.
It just means one attack people could use it.
Yeah. All right. Well, yep, it's possible. Whether or not it will happen, who knows? Next question. This comes in from Paladin FF Leroy. Will there be continuations of unfinished quest lines like ham, pirates, or sea slugs?
I wish Ed was here. I'm pretty sure he has like a huge backlog of quests he wants to continue. I haven't heard anything about these, but there might be. Do you guys know?
Yeah, it's pretty much the same answer for like a lot of these types of questions when it comes to like whether it be ham or whether it be like even like things like the Karen quest line. Like, sure, we'd want to make quests for these quest series, but it's more a case of when do we and what do we prioritize. So maybe in the future we can't really like give a concrete we'll be working on sea slugs next year because we don't really have plans for that.
Okay, yeah, I think that's probably the best way we could answer it. Thank you, Bruno. This question then comes in from Nick_Blazed, and they ask, will you be working with clan leaders for the clans update? I would appreciate you taking our input on what clans could really use.
We have and we will. Not every clan leader is going to get to have a voice in this because obviously there's a lot of clans in old school, but we have been like talking to certain clan leaders. Not as much as we want to because of Corona, because I think we originally planned to have like actual clan leaders come to the office and have like a talk about that, but that's not going to go through. But yeah, we are going to be like talking to clan leaders, especially when it comes to things like getting their clans pre-registered so that they don't have to worry about getting their name sniped or anything like that.
Cool. Thank you for that. Next question from Nature Boy. Are there any updates on a solution for stopping corp crashing for mains? There was a comment on this one actually. It was so if no one else is going to take it, I guess I shall try. Obviously, with the recent change yesterday made for Ironmen Corp, it highlighted potential main corp. Mains can I guess open up the instance if you're able to keep it open anyway with another account or with a friend. But it has been something that's been raised internally, and we are discussing it. So I can't exactly say anything concrete, but we are obviously aware that it can be a problem. So there may be changes, but there also may not be. Hopefully we'll be able to share more about that soon. But yeah, it's been brought up again, obviously, since yesterday's changes and discussions that followed on from there. So yeah.
There was also a bug regarding corp. When you relog at corp, I think he sort of loses track of who's killing him. And and I think that's been looked into as well.
Cool. Well, that'll be a really good change then if it's causing problems. Thanks for that info, Flippy. I had no idea. All right. Do not do what this name suggests, but their name is PM me your credit card. Please don't do that. And they ask, how do you feel about adding more player-owned house rooms for showing off skilling or quest-related achievements? For example, a decorative (brackets not functional) farm patch, maybe an arboretum room to display fancier / quest-related plants like anima, blisterwood, white fruit tree, and hespori.
I'm a huge fan of POH rooms in general, but I also have a few concerns regarding POH. One, it pulls players away from the game world. We don't want everyone to do like a lot of skilling content inside of their house, for example. Two, construction as a skill is really OP in my opinion currently, compared to other skills. Of course, there's a lot of use for construction, both like quality of life stuff and just pure strength in like teleports and stuff. So I would like to look over some of the less useful skills before diving into adding stuff onto construction, unless it's like small quality of life tweaks or whatever.
Flippy, I think the question was about showing off achievements and skilling, not adding skills to POH.
So it would be like it would be a decorative.
Oh, decorative. Patch. Okay, never mind. Yeah. Never mind my whole novel. Still valid.
I'm all for adding like more cosmetic things to your house that you can show off stuff with. Show that, hey, I've done all this.
Yeah,
if it's easy
the thing
stuff,
yeah. I think for me is I think I was kind of like along the same lines as you, Flippy, minus the people skilling in the player in house. Is that the player in house gets a lot of attention. Typically with with the holiday events and stuff that we do, wall kits and all the additional extras that we put in. So I think it has got a lot of love recently. Not to say that it shouldn't get more love, but maybe there are other areas that we could focus on first, and then potentially, one that we could definitely go back to. I think there's always room for more things to be added to the player in house. It's just when's a good time for it, to be prioritized over other things that we could do instead.
Yeah, of course. There's like always a balance to it. If it's really small stuff and it's like purely decorative, I don't see why not. If it's a larger, like sort of like creating new rooms, for example, it takes a bit of time and there's always like different struggles that comes with it. So even for stuff like that, I would probably turn towards other skills if possible.
Yeah, I think one of the things as well with player in houses, they typically tend to be quite resource intensive from a graphics perspective, especially if it's new unique things being added. And I don't want to speak on behalf of the artist because I'm obviously not an artist, but I would imagine that creating a new unique item for a player in house could be a similar kind of cost to having a brand new reward from a new piece of content, for example. And it's like, what would players find more valuable at that moment? I don't know. A lot of those things to kind of like obviously be weighed up, but not to say that it can't be done, just when. It sounds like we kind of like it at least. So cool. Xanderis is asking, are we going to receive a random events rework in the future? Something more complex and more rewarding? ?
As in a new one?
Maybe a new one, maybe rework the old ones. Maybe both.
Sure.
I wouldn't mind adding rewards like we did to the beekeeper with like the cool new beekeeper outfit. I don't really see that much value in having like a rework of them though, since most people just ignore them. And we made it so that you really don't have to do anything to them at all. So like, not
maybe
that much of a fan of it.
Yeah. Maybe you could bring back one of the old ones, like the old mining one and the old wood cutting one, maybe, just with a couple tweaks.
I would love to see those.
People don't.
Bring
You're
back
just having a time mining, and then all of a sudden, oh no, your dragon pickaxe is like gone to Narnia. Unlucky. I guess you go buy a new one now.
Yeah, and the fishing troll that came out that used to just absolutely batter you, but I'd always want to try and kill it, thinking, oh, there might be something good coming from it. Back when the wiki didn't exist really, and no, it was always fishing bait, but I still tried every time. They were good times. I think maybe I'm mistaken, but I'm sure I heard maybe it was something that Mod Rock had put forward as a suggestion internally quite recently, last week sometime, maybe the week before. But I think there were some like small kind of like improvements that we could make. For example, when you finished the maze random, letting you know what percentage you actually finished it on, because I know that when you click it, it disappears, so it could change by like 1 or 2%. It's like a really minor thing, but we've been adding more information recently to like the chat box. So like I think that was one of them that could potentially be looked at. But I think I recall him saying anyway.
Yeah, I think I heard something about that too, and that makes sense because I'm always asking myself like, shit,
what did I get?
What percent did I get?
Was it
How many
pointless
did I
speed
get in
rolls?
this file?
Cool. All right. Oh, someone's car's being robbed. Next question comes in from Spooky X Craig, and they ask, whatever happened with the stamina regen proposal when in pubs across the game? This would be really helpful for both free-to-play and low-level accounts across members. It's a good question. I don't even remember.
I can't remember what was done with this. But instead of this, why not give free-to-play some form of agility training?
That's another interesting point as well. I think it always goes to the why do they need it now that they've got energy potions conversation. But I don't know if that's like valid anymore. I don't know. I don't mind basically. I think like it would be cool, but it's up to the players really, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like if you
I
have
think they
this,
also
you value the potions a lot as well, because then you can just teleport to a pub and go back and continue with yourself.
I think they serve slightly different purposes though. Like I feel like potions, like bringing potions with you, were a very like conscious action of, I'm gonna do like a running heavy activity sort of. So you bring that along with you. But I feel like those sort of resting places, it might be like some nice help when you're just running around randomly and you actually do come across a pub. And I'm not sure if they would like necessarily clash with each other as pieces of content. But yeah, I don't know. I think we were a bit split internally as well about this question, which might be why we just didn't proceed with it.
Yeah. Well, given that we've had a fair amount of focus on free-to-play and like early game experience recently, maybe there's an opportunity to revisit again. I really like how you presented that actually, Flippy, is that maybe if it wasn't agility and if it was kind of like the rest spots, they could be in locations that would make absolutely zero impact and very little impact in terms of like general gameplay, but for a new player that is maybe running from Lumbridge towards Varrock, when they get to Varrock, they can go to the Blue Moon Inn, have a little rest, get their run energy, and that can then help them get from the inn towards the Grand Exchange, for example, or continue their journey onto Barbarian Village or something like that. Maybe.
But then if it was like that, wouldn't it impact the pools and player houses as well?
In what way?
The way I think you can go to your pool and your player own house, and you can just restore your own energy there as well.
Oh yeah, but like a free to play won't have that, or like a low level player wouldn't have it at that point, would they? So it would be just little helpful things for them rather than anything else. I guess it probably comes across as like how helpful would it actually be? Maybe we need to look more into the data of it to find out if there's a significant portion of people that would benefit from it.
Yeah, someone in chat made a point of Ferox Enclave as well.
Okay, so, yeah, for low levels, that's actually really convenient. If you're a members only though, right? You can just pop there, use the pool, and instantly get back full HP spec and everything. But not so much for free to play. It sounds like there could be potential there, one way or the other, whether it's like agility, resting parts. Yeah, we just need to bring up the conversation again when the time's right, I guess. But we've had other priorities with free to play recently, so I guess that's what happened with it, Spooky Craig. We just stopped talking about it and prioritized other things instead. It doesn't mean that we can't go back to it at some point.
Cool.
Right. Mr. CJRS asks, we still can't pet the dog in the museum camp on Fossil Island. Can this be added?
You know what?
Why not?
If this gets
Why
an
not?
internal yes, I'll take this on me personally to make it happen.
Yeah. What if it's just a bad dog and it'll bite you? Maybe that's why.
Maybe there's like a 1 in 10 chance
I
of
don't
petting
know.
the dog that it bites you then, unless you're wearing leather gloves and you don't take damage.
I feel like you're just
Oh,
trying
that could
to
have
find
been
a
an
reason
Easter
for
egg.
us not to pet the dog, Bruno.
Yeah, Bruno, what you got against
Well,
dogs, mate?
Yeah.
I'm
Why don't you like the dog?
I'm just trying to find excuses for the mod who didn't let us pet the dog.
Oh.
Well, whoever mod Grumpy
that'd
was
be
at
nice.
the time, maybe should reconsider allowing us to pet the dogs. Okay. Next question from VTH, and this they ask, when do you anticipate the equipment rebalancing changes going live? It's a good question. You guys mind if I take this one?
Go for it.
Cool. Okay. I don't want to say too much because still kind of like finalizing plans in terms of going forward with it. But our intention with the equipment rebalance is to not have one going live date. It will be to have multiple. So we're going to split it out into sections and release it over various different stages, depending on what things we're going to be looking at first. So there'll be we will be releasing a blog, and I think I have earmarked that for not next week, but the week afterwards. So in about 2 weeks or so, you should get some information in terms of what our plans are and how exactly it's going to work. But we're going to be looking at doing the less, controversial changes, so like the changes to rune armor and the med helms, square shields, the dragon warhammer, for example. Those are probably going to go in first because we don't really need to get more info on them. And then we're going to look into the blowpipe as the next big one. Obviously, there's a lot of discussion that needs to happen around the blowpipe and how exactly we're going to approach that. Including surveys and such that we'll be asking you to fill out based on the proposals that we'll share with you, and also you helping us shape up the next proposal. And then I believe we'll be looking into the incorporating the changes to items that affect PvP more as part of the wilderness changes that will be coming up very soon. So kind of like April, May time for those. And then we'll finish off with the tier rebalancing changes before the launch of combat achievements. That's roughly the kind of plan. So within the next few months, but you'll know more in 2 weeks. Cool. All right. Next question was, where is it? Here we go. This is from Daniel445. Since the Elder Maul was intended as a PvP weapon, is the team happy with where the Elder Maul sits currently, power-wise?
I don't know.
I
Honestly, I don't know how it is.
I haven't heard any chatter about it in a while.
Yeah, I mean, power-wise, like, when it comes to its hit, it does hit quite hard. It's hard to make that hit worth it if it's slow and it's inconsistent. So we have other items that are already good at that, like God Swords. I feel like it's kind of a hard spot to fit in.
I do see it has some uses in PvP. I've seen people on stream, for example, using it, and in certain videos, it's definitely not as popular as using a combination like D-Claws G-Maul or AGS G-Maul, or just anything into G-Maul, in fact. But it definitely can be used in certain situations when you're stacking up attacks. In terms of how happy are we with it? I mean, the way I would say it is how happy are the PvPers with it? If the PvPers think that it's not good enough, then maybe we need to change it. I know there's been a lot of calls for the Elder Maul to be included as part of the equipment rebalance, which is something I didn't mention just before. One of the last things that we're doing with equipment rebalance is maybe looking at other items that we hadn't previously considered. Not to say that the Elder Maul is going to be one of them, but maybe it could fit into around about that time, so it gives a couple of months to think of some ideas. However, I'll be honest, I don't really see a situation where the Elder Maul is going to be massively useful in PVM with its really slow attack speed that it has at the moment. It will always be outclassed by other weapons, unless it had some super niche use. But there's where is the right place for that now, apart from maybe Tecton, for example.
I know we're looking a second time at Bulwark D-Hide, Ancient D-Hide, and I'm thinking maybe we can throw in this as just looking over the state of the mall in PvP.
Maybe. Oh, hold
See.
on. What if this is more of a meme than anything? But what if, like, the Elder Maul is, you know, your typical unstoppable force, and the Din's Bulwark is the immovable object, and when the two meet, what happens? Or what if the Elder Maul could break Din's Bulwark, and that is how PvP is?
No.
Back at people using the Din's. Smashes it to pieces. That's the Elder Maul's new use.
More hits of
It's
Dins.
a
Player goes flying and takes a lot of damage.
revised combat triangle.
Yep, smashed it with a big hammer. Maybe not. All right, a Wild Muffin has asked, can you do more design streams for things like new weapons and armor? Yeah, we can.
I guess. Yeah.
We definitely want to plan to do more of them.
Did we do one recently? We might have.
Yeah, it was a bit of a.
Yeah,
It was like a. Oh, go on.
Yeah, but yeah, that's something that people like. So if we can like put it in and it makes sense, then yeah, I'm sure we can think about making some more. It's usually things like art that have those like sort of streams, but yeah, see if we can fit them in.
I know when we've been looking at scheduling, there's been some time allocated for some future updates that we'll be looking at doing later in the year that might potentially have design streams that coincide with them. I think the last one was with the birthday stream, right? Or the Steam release. They made the wind-up dragon ranged weapon thing, which was pretty cool. But yeah, we can, and hopefully we will be doing more of them. Right. Luke has asked if we can introduce a way for ironmen to buy bonds in-game with GP. For example, sell things to get money, it stays in there and can only be used for bonds.
Don't like the idea of them being able to sell things for money, but I think it'd be cool if ironmen could go to the GE and purchase a bond off there with their coins that they've earned.
Yeah, I agree with not wanting ironmen to interact with the G in that way, where they can just sell the things, even if they can't get the money from it. I feel like it doesn't really feel right for an Iron Man, although I'm not really an Iron Man myself, so I might just be having a bad opinion about it. But yeah, I think we've spoken about this before, having a way for Iron Men to be able to buy bonds, and yeah, it would be nice if they could. It's not like they're using the bond for any sort of like benefit aside from membership, so or name changes.
I guess it's a difficult one when you think about it, because like the reality is, like, what are the alternatives? Like an Iron Man is just going to use a second account to bond their character anyway, right? Someone that can trade, and if they can't afford to buy a bond on that second account, then they'll just drop trade it anyway. So is that a massive difference to them just being able to sell them? Not saying that they should be able to, but I guess it just makes it more accessible. And you know, at the moment, at least drop trading has some element of, okay, you might not actually get your item because someone else could potentially snipe it. And does that extra accessibility then, you know, just flood more items into the game? Because currently there is a blocker and it puts people off. I don't know. But maybe the buying side of bonds like isn't that bad of a thing actually. It's better than having to have a second account to do it, right? It's real no difference in that sense. Especially for the people that don't have a second account, you know.
Yeah, and for that second account, more often you not even need membership to be able to sell the items that you drop. So, unless you're going to drop a bunch of free-to-play items which are worth something. But yeah.
Okay. So maybe, but I think it's something that we would need to. I don't think it's a decision that we ourselves in the team would be able to make. Just, you know, based off player need. You need to really look into it and how much of an impact it might have. But it's potentially possible. It sounds like. Okay, so Deserac Studio has asked, can we please have the ability to lock stats when doing PvP? I worked hard to build a PvP character, but don't want to use it as I know it won't get long to fight before it's just another ult with meh stats. And just to add to this, I assume that this means like not locking one defense so that you can't accidentally get defense levels. Maybe they want to stay at a particular build like 75 attack, 90 strength. I'm not saying that's a good build, but as an example. Eventually they will probably get an attack or a strength level just from PvP, which I think is one of like the massive value adds to having an Iron Man account for PvP, because you don't get experience against other players. But I think that's probably more the direction they're going in, rather than saying like I don't want to accidentally get a defense level. So off that basis, what do we think?
That'd be really nice for them. Because then you can keep your account for much longer. So say for instance, you got those people who make the Debo accounts. You don't want to get any more HP levels. You just want to keep it as low as you can. Like, why not?
I mean, what's the alternative? They just
Right.
level up a new one, right?
Yeah, like I think it'll be nice for them, but it's one of those things which is like, I really think this makes sense and should be added to the game. Like, in my opinion, no. But I'm not really the one that's affected by this since I'm not a PR. So
Yeah, it's weird. It feels weird, right? But at the same time, I kind of feel for people who have to level up a bunch of accounts just because, you know, ruining one level or whatever. I guess there is like middle ground as well of like locking something permanently, for example. If that would be a more sort of harsher restriction and maybe more accepted. So maybe you could permanently lock the all the stats of your account, or maybe just one skill. I'm not sure.
yeah. I feel my main issue with this though is like you can very easily make like a 99 magic PR and then just go around one hitting people who are like level 30 combat. And if you could just easily lock it, like those types of accounts will just become a lot more common, and it's like not really a special thing anymore. Whereas before, like if you saw someone with like 99 magic and like very low other stats, it's like, oh, that's a cool account. But now you can just knock one up in a week and it'll be fine.
Yeah, that's true. It would ruin a lot of cool accounts.
Especially when you consider like the way to do that currently is by doing it via an Ironman account, and obviously you need to get those high level runes yourself consistently to be able to spend them, and you know maybe that's not as easy to do an Ironman keeping 10 HP than it would be if you could just lock your stats. It's a really interesting one. I know I can see in the chat already there's a lot of people against it, but to be honest, it's no surprise. I know a lot of people aren't in support of like pure updates, so to speak. I'd be very cautious about making sure that it didn't allow you to get quests completed that you wouldn't normally be able to complete. You know, if a quest gave quest XP, for example, I'd still expect it to give you that. The only thing I really have to add is that I think other games, I'm pretty sure, you know, another game that is built in a massive world of war has kind of like put in something similar in the past for their kind of like PvP specific characters, where you lock it, you don't get any more experience, and that went down really, really well. But obviously, different game, different environment and situation and stuff. So, yeah, maybe there's some merit to it.
I think if anything, like you would basically, because of what Bruno said, you would have to lock your entire account simultaneously, probably, so that you could still sort of flex with unique accounts. But if you, so like if you were to lock your account, then all the skills would be locked at the same time. And you wouldn't be able to like freeze one skill and then level up. You wouldn't be able to freeze your combat stats and train a lot of Slayer and stuff.
Yeah, I'd probably see it as like a one-time lock. You can never go back. It's like you're locked forever. Can't unlock. That's it. Your account is stuck at that state permanently. But I think it probably would only make sense if it was against players that you didn't get XP. You basically turned into an Iron Man at that point when it came to PvP. Yeah, exactly. You would still get XP for doing non-PvP stuff. So like skilling. If you were going to kill NPCs, you'd get XP off NPCs and stuff, because otherwise it would just ruin any skiller, you know, accounts that are out there. All of that achievement would just be completely lost.
Yeah, I'd love to hear what PvPers say about that.
Yeah, because I mean that's the main one. Is like, you know, at the end of the day, this would be something that would be impacting the people that make these builds more than the people that have an opinion on those builds. So maybe, you know, hearing from them is going to give us a good idea of like what they actually want. Sounds like it's, you know, got some maybe merit, but a very difficult topic to tackle. It's a very big one to tackle as well, given how established kind of like metas and stuff are now. But yeah, great question though. Thank you, Desiree. Rekaz has asked if we will see a hardcore Ultimate Iron Man eventually. It would be nice to see the game mode the way it was intended without death storage. Instead of losing hardcore status, you could just lose all items on death each time.
Is there enough of demand for it? Or is it one of those things which like people might ask about, but then when it comes out only 5 people play it? But I don't know if
I don't see any
want to,
demand in
or
chat.
they're just like sure, people might think it's cool if like their favorite YouTuber makes a series about it for a month, but is it really a long? Is there much longevity in like the content really?
Yeah, I guess it's also one of those. Like I know we already have hardcore and UIM separately in the game already, but it also is. It becomes another one of the game modes that we have to sort of take into consideration when making changes to other pieces of content. Not necessarily like cater specifically to it, but it is something that we always need to take in mind. Like how does this affect UIM? How does this affect hardcore? And yeah.
Okay, all right, thank you. Next question is from dorth1511. Is there any possibility of updating some of the more lackluster guilds? Maybe not so that they're the best places to be, but so they're at least an option for one reason or another.
Yes.
I think it would be really nice, wouldn't it? Because I think didn't we some of us have designed some stuff for certain guilds of what could be changed.
Yeah, there are some ideas floating around already. So.
Oh, so many ideas. This is so exciting. I haven't seen these actually, so I'd be really interested to see what the guilds are like. So if you've put anything together, I'm going to be...
Yeah, I think I've seen a couple of them, and yeah, they do look alright. I do like them.
Yeah. Well, Benny in the chat pointed out exactly correct. Yes, but when? Yes, -jagex. That is true. That is our stance. Yes, it's possible, but when? And that is that's the reality of having things already kind of locked in terms of a roadmap of development, which I know you've not had a huge amount of insight into recently because the gazettes have been missed since last year. But we do hope to share that with you, relatively soon, so you can get an idea of why we're having to say yes, but when. There are reasons for it, reasons that I'm not prepared to risk my current position to be able to share with you, but we will be soon, and it will all make sense. And I know this is all just words for now, but yeah, it's the best I can do for you right now.
I mean, it's impossible to commit to something that we might be able to start on in more than a year at this point, because we already have a lot of projects lined up. And it's I think at this point it's more of a question of what do we cut rather than what do we pile onto that for some of the teams. So it's just a lot of these things are really nice, but it's also impossible to just commit to a time frame at this point. But we do still tackle a lot of these areas in our ideation days, and sometimes that actually just results in a new update popping up sort of in between all the normal releases, which is nice. And this guild question is actually one of them, where we've already sort of laid out some basic concepts for what it could look like.
Mm-hmm. And just to reiterate that we've mentioned in previous Q&As, but if you've not seen the times where we've said that, in any of the questions that we do turn around and say, yeah, sounds good, we can probably do that, it's just a case of when, or generally we agree but need more info, we do log them, we do pop them into our backlog, and quite typically you'll probably end up seeing them in the next line of polls that we do. A lot of the questions from poll 74, for example, they were taken from our backlog. I recall that for the newest poll that we'll be doing and sharing with you very soon, which is poll 75, we went back as far as 2017 and 2018 for some suggestions and changes that we're going to be putting forward to you, the community. So yeah, all in good time. So a question from Benos the Great. Is there any chance you would consider letting firemaking play a role when smelting using normal furnaces? Currently, the best way by far to smelt bars is to use the blast furnace, which renders the common furnaces into mostly dead content. This idea could give both firemaking and logs a greater use, while also giving an alternative to the blast furnace in terms of smithing.
I don't know how people would feel about this, but what if that depending on your firemaking level, the speed at which you create bars could increase, or the amount you make at a time could increase at higher levels? The same as with runecrafting. The higher your runecrafting level, the more runes you can make at a time.
Okay,
I
so
wouldn't
like
mind
maybe if you were...
'cause- Go ahead.
Bruno. I was going to say, like, so if you were, say, for example, 90 mining, you smith 2 bars at a time instead of 1.
Like 95 making, yeah. If you had the
Yeah,
equivalent.
95 making, sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, oh, that's an interesting concept.
I wouldn't
think it's
mind
cool.
making smithing faster, but I don't really get the tie between firemaking and smithing. Like,
So
yeah,
you
obviously it
like
makes
the
sense because
furnace.
You're-
fire equals heat, but like, it's kind
You're
of like a
more
random
experienced at
tie-in.
I can see
More
like
experienced at
you're more
making fires and hot things.
no, you're more experienced at using the heat in the furnace.
Yeah, maybe it's just like it is right now by default, but then you can put in like different tiers of logs or whatever, and it becomes different.
Yeah,
it
if
works
there's
at
like
different
a-
speeds.
Yeah, if there's like a tie-in to like what type of log you're using, then yeah, that would make sense.
Someone pointed out that you use coal for furnaces and not logs. I think
Yeah.
he's
Yeah,
right.
but where does coal
Which
come
is
from?
like,
You can get charcoal from like wood though, right?
True.
So
in
maybe we
Valheim,
add a
yeah, in
kiln.
RuneScape, don't know.
Well, maybe you know we do a separate crossover where instead of RuneScape meets Valheim, it's Valheim meets RuneScape, and we have a charcoal kiln, and you put logs in, and it gives different quality of charcoal. How about that? And that could then maybe offset the time saved that you would get, you know, in the short term for, you know, smelting multiple bars at a time, because you'd have to wait for this coal to accumulate, so to speak, or it could cost more to smith faster during a normal furnace because you have to buy that from other players.
So apart from this being really thematically cool, what purpose, like what different purpose would this have to Blast Furnace? When would you do this instead of doing Blast Furnace? I don't want to kill the whole discussion, but
Yeah,
it would be nice
that's my
finding
main problem
a
with it as
different
well.
purpose.
You could probably get to a point where you wouldn't have to spend money on the blast furnace. It'd take the same amount of time making your bars normally as than using the blast furnace.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
I
Blast
guess
Furnace is like
that's
really
the thing.
click intensive. Well, you don't have to make it click intensive. If you just want to like go to the bank, go to the like conveyor belt, and then AFK for like 20 seconds, and that's fine. Just not going to be as fast.
Yeah, I guess it's one of those, like, the apart from it being maybe more chill, for maybe not as fast, it could be like a middle ground between the two. It's just an alternate option, very similar to like, okay, why did we add shooting stars when there's, you know, there's Motherlode mine, there's blast mining, there's amethyst mining, there's gem rocks, there's power mining, there's all of those extras. It's just a bit of variety, right? It's what they say is this variety is the spice of life. But aside from that, yeah, it's like it's too fast.
I guess if you could make coal in some way, like let's say, like I saw Mod West writing magic coal before, created from magic logs, then I guess you would only, if you could actually store that in the furnace, you would only have to take the main ore. So if I'm smelting a mithril bar, I only have to take the mithril ore instead of like mithril ore and a bunch of coal. And maybe that could be sort of going in a more unique direction where we could make it more AFK.
That's not bad, actually. Yeah, you store the coal in there instead, so that you can just do a full invent fully AFK. All right. Well, it sounds like there's some potentials there, at least. I don't want to spend too much time on the smithing question in case we burn out.
No.
So next question from Mr. Sin of Greed. Would you develop more content for Zeah, such as the fisherman area next to Wintertod, or the supposed continent under Zeah mentioned by the traveller Volamore?
Yeah, eventually. As Moded recently teased on his Twitter, he has kind of completed development on the Kingdom Divided quest, so there's definitely some more Zeah content coming. When we plan on making those big expansions, I can't really give you an answer to that, but they're on the road. Well, they're on the maps. We just have to like work on them, obviously. So it'll take a while still.
Okay. Cool. There's apparently a party going on outside my house, so sorry if you can hear random voices. I'm sure we're still in lockdown, by the way, folks. But okay, so this question comes from Sorch OSRS. Any plans to ramp up cooperation with players for future content? Many quality posts make it to the top of Reddit, but regular players never see them and they are forgotten over time.
I can reassure you that basically every post that gets to the front page of Reddit is like properly being considered and like gone through by several people in the team. I'm in operators currently, and that's really what we do every single week. And Modlight has been like super good in putting together sort of like daily rundowns of all the sort of posts from both Reddit, Twitter, like Discord, Facebook, even like anything you could think of.
Instagram and YouTube.
Yeah. So we do really see all of that, and it is considered. It's not that we just, check out for a weekend and miss out on all of that.
Yeah. Maybe there's more that we can do in terms of sharing what we see and what we share internally.
Yeah, like we can comment on it, and that's like pretty clear.
I mean, maybe there's like a monthly roundup that we could do. Sorry, Bruno, I keep cutting you off. Like, this is the things we've seen you suggest. Go ahead. It's all yours.
That being said, just because something's like gets highly upvoted on Reddit doesn't mean it's ever going to get into the game, because there's lots of things on Reddit which are dumb and get lots of upvotes. We consider it, but we won't always add them to the game, just to make that clear, because I do see a lot of people complaining in the chat.
Wait, what? Thought that was the plan.
Well, Reddit don't always have the best ideas, so they might get a lot of upvotes. Some of them are great, like, don't get me wrong, but like, we won't always think, oh yeah, that's got a lot of upvotes, so let's just put it in the game.
Honestly, I don't know what you're talking about. On every post, I see pros, this, cons, 0.
Yep, 0.
It's all gold.
Does it have a black background, yellow text? If it does, we should probably just put it in the game. That's fine.
All memes aside, though, it would be really cool if we could have like another player content design competition.
Yeah, that would be.
We have one now. It's called Design the Hat. It's just not content that you play on. It's a hat.
Let's put this hat in. Put backwards cap.
All right, you won the competition. Congratulations, Tide. The backwards cap. Yes, and then we can add skateboards, like the video that came out like years ago, skateboards in RuneScape. If you remember it, you know. Right, I'm conscious of time. There is one question that I wanted to ask. Excuse me for being biased. Mod Druid, it's number 26, and it comes from Lemois OSRS. When can we expect a buff to the Revenants drop table? The issue of clans protecting people was fixed by making it singles plus. At the same time, however, the drop table was heavily nerfed. Spawns are spread, and there's a long respawn timer. Right now, it's simply not worth doing.
I don't have a direct answer to when, but we are just about, I think, next week starting to look at that, among other things. So whenever that is considered and someone has ran the numbers for that, which might be me, then we'll see. But yeah, it is being looked at very, very soon, at least.
Cool. Yeah, I think I've said in previous Q&As that around about April we'll be speaking to players more about wilderness changes, and wilderness changes incorporate the Rev Caves as well as the Wilderness Slayer Cave, and just general kind of like wilderness changes as well, both for PvPers and those that go into the wilderness that might not necessarily go to engage in PvP but end up finding themselves in that situation anyway. Just for clarity's sake, because things have shifted a little bit, I don't think we'll be seeing a blog in April now. It'll probably be very early May instead. but there'll be communications going out. So we'll be looking to, get more information and validation based off some concepts and ideas that we have in the form of like surveys and such in preparation for a blog. So yeah, not too long to wait now at least. And also apologies if I got the name pronunciation wrong. It happens. Okay, and then the last question, I'm going to go to number 33, Druid, and this comes from Hohaku Pack, and they ask if it would be possible to make it so that you can finish Tutorial Island without being forced to gain combat experience.
We could.
Does it allow you to do anything interesting in the main game?
I guess it's just so like you can have like a PR, which lets Zeah.
Yeah, the least combat experience possible, right? Where did I see that recently? I'm sure it was a video I saw on YouTube where someone had like, they were doing accounts and they had to keep remaking them so they didn't get too much XP. I don't know.
Yeah, people probably played around with something like that. I do feel like it goes back to the question we had earlier, which was locking people's like, although not as much, but locking people's accounts for XP in combat. Kind of one of the things that I feel doesn't really make sense, that if you do combat, you get 0 XP for it, because that's not really how RuneScape works. But
yeah, it wouldn't make for a great tutorial, would it? I guess if you were opting in, but then it's like, there are probably
also,
more
how as a new player would you like determine that, like, why does this game not give me XP for completing, well, basically fighting things? It would have to be like a weird, do you want to get combat XP, which only really makes any sense at all to someone who's making a new account and wants 0 combat XP, which is like maybe a 0.5% of people, if that. It feels like a bit too snowflakey to care about.
Does it even make a difference in the end? Like, I know it does in terms of XP, but does it make a difference in terms of levels? Or
it would give them more. It would give MPs more leeway, just in case they miss an attack star.
Yeah.
I remember it now. I think it was Sir Pugger's how much XP can you gain in something time, I don't know, and they had an account that had the minimal XP off Tutorial Island and then smashed out a load of quests, something like that. It's very niche anyway, very, 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 very niche. So we can, but we probably won't, at least not until there's nothing else to work on that's maybe more impactful. Does that sound fair? Sorry. Okay, well, that was all we had time for today. So there was a few chat questions, which we will prioritize for next week's live stream. We'll try and get through those. And I will finish off with some of the announcements. So first of all, !Steam. Old School is now on Steam. You can unlock achievements, badges, trading cards, and more when you play using the brand new Steam client. So use !Steam to visit our store page today. If you need any help with Steam, !Steam help is the command for you. And then we have !Game Update. Get your telescopes at the ready. We're bringing back a fan favorite by old schoolifying Shooting Stars. We've also got some more Pulse 74 changes, and we want your feedback on our concept proposals for the clan halls, as well as the clan hub location. So use !Game Update for more info. And then lastly, we have !Competition. Just because our 6 Jad challenge is over doesn't mean you've missed your chance to get a KBD building set. So get your brushes, pencils, or mouse at the ready and design a hat for a chance to get it featured in the game. Find out more by using !Competition to get all the details. Cool. That was it. That was the last announcement. Thank you, everyone. Hopefully you enjoyed some of the older questions that we didn't get a chance to cover in previous Q&As. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you for those watching at home. Thank you so much to Mods Sani and Light for helping out with the chat and the questions. Thank you to Mod Bruno, Tide, and Flippy, and also to Spear and Druid behind the scenes for making sure everything works as smoothly as possible. That's all we have time for tonight. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a wonderful evening, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.